morning, a totally different music is growing than late in the evening. In the morning, you are starting your walk. You're opening in your mind the windows and the doors, and you are going straight on to discover the day and the world. It's the landscape I have a deep relation with because I grew up there. So, but every landscape, when it's get a little bit more hilly or mountain-like, so I feel the heart gets open more and more. There's a wind and with a special sound, and you have a beautiful big sky and clouds, and everything is okay for me.
Would you want to live there?
Yeah, I do. I'm a part of the Rockies. I'm a part of the trees there. I'm a part of the clouds crossing the Rockies. So always. Say when I take a guitar at home and start to play just to fool around, in the beginning it's always related to be outside and to walk alone. And of course related to nature. A lot of my things are related to nature because I'm living now since so many years in Berlin, in a big city, but I still feel home when I'm in the landscape outside with hills, with mountains. So then I feel home. Many years ago I thought I have to decide between music and artworks, and then I realized it's the same thing. I use always different instruments, guitar or brush or pencil or something like this. And when I make, for example, when I work on paintings, and I don't make so many sketches outside, because I do a lot of sketches in my mind, and at the end when I start making a painting, I don't make a painting about totally concrete landscape. You can say that's this place. I recollect my mind, and then I walk through a landscape, and the landscape is opening in front of me. So at the end I have to look where I have been, and the same happens sometimes, not always, in music. When you are a person and you feel inside you want to express something, you don't need so many things. You should use what you have. And so that gives you a lot of ideas. So I mean, in East Germany we were able to repair our cars. In West Germany people went to a station and said, please do something for my car. So, and we had to improvise. So, I don't have this, what can I use? It's possible. So, that makes something here inside. In the West you could go into a record store and buy a record. And tablature or... and also you could buy guitars. You could go in the store and you could buy guitars. And in East Germany it was difficult. I think over the years, mostly we had some classical records. And then later in the 80s, I think in the 80s, there was one Leo Kottke record because he played a concert in Berlin. Same, for example, with Indian classical music. There was one record, Ravi Shankar, one record, Nikhil Banerjee. So when somebody had guitar records, they had to be given around. So, and everybody was taping these records, and then trying to play this, and so at the end is I think it's interesting that we had to improvise, and so we had to find out our very personal styles, because we didn't have so much material as influences. In '86 I got a record with, I think it was the German license of a Windham Hill record. Acoustic guitar solos 81, so with 5 guitarists, and one of them was Robbie Basho, and I was totally surprised because all my other friends listened to the other guys on this record, and I just had ears for these 2 Robbie Basho pieces because it was very close to the way I had just started to go. Not only the fingerstyle, it was the kind of the power of the sound in the music, because some of the other players in our East Berlin cycle were more influenced by the British acoustic guitar players, and it's the British guitar player play with a different sound than the American guitar player, and so for me it was very, very interesting, and it was in these 2 pieces was let's say a little bit mystic quality. real name was Daniel Robinson. And then I found out that he was impressed by Matsuo Basho, this Japanese haiku writer, and took the name. And he changed his name, and not only his name, also his mind, and he said, from now only the musician Robbie Basho exists. And for me it was a kind of direction, a connection between Matsuo Basho had influenced Robbie Basho, and I had discovered Matsuo Basho, and Robbie Basho influenced me. So there was a line. And the other point was, 2 years after his death, Robbie Basho was nearly forgotten. I wanted to show, okay, I respect and I have to show, of course, he is a main influence on my music, and I took the name as a kind of respect him and to show that he is not forgotten as a main influence.
Wait.
When I start to play, I want to be sure that the people won't listen to my music. So when there is a lot of talking in the beginning, and a lot of noise, I sit there and I can wait. I think before I start to play, there is a kind of meditation. Nobody can see, but I know. And when I start to play, I'm sitting there and I'm just a part of the music. Childhood, I was standing in the garden, or in front of the garden there was a street, houses only on one side, so the other side was a totally free view, and I was standing there sometimes for an hour or more watching the sunset until the last red light, a little bit on the corner of a cloud was going, and I had the feeling somebody closes the door now. That's interesting because this time after sunset we call it the blue hour, it's an interesting time because the day is over, but the night isn't starting. So it's a time between these two situations.